wise master.
His glare met that of his former master, Higo Damask. Plagueis, donning dark robes, looked precisely as Palpatine remembered him.
Have you come to gloat about my death now as well, Plagueis?
Plagueis ignored Palpatine's arrogance and drifted toward the skyline view of Coruscant. It was a sight he hadn't seen in decades, where most beings would feel nostalgia or at least some form of emotion. Nothingness washed over him. His mind remained clouded, like the deep murky marshes on Naboo.
I remember when Coruscant looked like this, filled with life laid bare to serve our powers. It was set up so perfectly for me. I foresaw my assuming the throne through your figurehead, finally destroying the Jedi. Instead, you killed me. Ironic.
As Plagueis' words hung in the air, the world spun again. The pair found themselves in the apartment where Palpatine had killed Plagueis. Palpatine marveled at the detail of the memory. The lavender drapery and the scent of power filled the room. To his surprise, the events of so long ago unfolded before him again. Plagueis, now alongside Palpatine, saw the crimson blade of Palpatine rip his body apart. Yet for Plagueis, he had witnessed this death 100 times over, patiently waiting in the shadows.
Yes, and I killed you because you were weak and foolish. Your incompetence, distracted by your attempts to create life, missed the grandeur that lay in our path. In my totality, I learned your mysterious ways, though they were flawed.
In the years leading up to his demise, Plagueis fiercely studied the manipulation of midichlorians to create and preserve life, becoming the most adept in the history of the subject, at least to his knowledge. However, there was a trick at play. One Palpatine did not sniff out. Plagueis had made arrangements decades before his death. He foresaw his demise just as he knew Palpatine sensed the opportunity to strike with the strongest venom. He prepared for it in the most unorthodox way, by allowing this vision to come true.
Yes, my guard did fall. However, my forever apprentice, in death, I learned life.
As the realm turned around them again, Palpatine and Plagueis were back in the Chancellor's quarters. Palpatine's eyes were fixed on Plagueis, wondering what dark powers were at play, creating these illusions. Plagueis, on the other hand, remained focused on the bustling sky of Coruscant, this time locking his gaze onto the Jedi Temple.
As I look out, I see a structure in front of us, billions under my thumb. Instead of being patient, you leapt at your throne. Without me, you hastened the downfall of an empire before its advent. Yes, you had momentary control, but your plans failed to kill the Jedi. You were not ready to face Master Yoda, and you fumbled the apprenticeship of Anakin Skywalker, my greatest creation. When you felt Vader's call to weakness, you overestimated your power, attempting to lure his son, who was even more resilient to your stupidity. But in this trial of death, I began to wonder, perhaps the Sith need to reconsider the dark side and draw from the interpretations of the Jedi. After all, they handily dispatched you twice.
Palpatine had enough. With the rage of death itself, his hilt shot from his sleeve, igniting his crimson blade as he struck at Plagueis with all his force and anger. But as the strike came, Palpatine's face turned cold as stone. He was frozen in place. Plagueis stared down at Palpatine as the blade began to retract against Plagueis' power. Just as the saber lost its power, so did Palpatine. He was now reduced to the level of an ordinary human.
How are you doing this?
Palpatine's last words were cut short by an unknown grip, tightening around his neck. His vocal cords crushed, and he felt the bones in his neck bend beyond recognition.
I have felt your power. For a moment I thought, Perhaps it was our destiny as Sith Lords to restore the Sith Empire, break from the rule of two, and reveal ourselves. But alas, my final mistake was thinking that a pup like you could be as great as the ones fallen before us.
As Palpatine tried to muster words from his dry lips, his bones began to break, and only his shrieks echoed in this desolate plain. He attempted to summon all his darkness in a desperate bid for survival. As his strength began to manifest, Plagueis let his Force lightning course through Palpatine's soul, rendering him unconscious and useless like a discarded rag. With a grip still clenched around Palpatine's lifeless body, Plagueis spoke.
Our time has come, my apprentice. I have watched from the shadows, observing your every blunder and move. I patiently waited for this moment of correction. Goodbye, my old apprentice.
Palpatine's neck snapped completely, and his body became lifeless. Plagueis focused the Force through himself, retaining whatever power remained from Palpatine. He flicked Palpatine's corpse toward the nearby rocks, watching as it slid down the hills into the Grand Canyons below. It was time for Plagueis to return.